Hi, I'm Chris from Airwindows, and boy, you caught me on a weird day today. I am frantically trying to get the most recent revision of Meter up and running, and I keep coming up with new stuff to do with it, which is working, but at the same time is causing me to start over again and start remeasuring everything. And I keep working out how to do, anyway, you can do this. Because never mind Meter, this is Airwindows X2Buss. So you might wonder what this is, and I'm going to tell you, and also for the $10 and up patrons I will show you. This is effectively the same stuff that lives on the bus of ConsoleX2, but I've been revising it. So what we've got is essentially the same EQ as I had on X2. This is a high-resolution EQ that's sort of normal style, so it can sound a little bit too much like frequencies rather than the heart of the sound, but it's accurate and behaves well. And then the compressor, I decided I wanted to go over the compressor again because I came up with new ways to do compression in like Dynamics 3. And there's going to be the default ConsoleX3 compressor is going to be like Dynamics 3, but it made me understand that the compressor built into ConsoleX2 hadn't been brought up to speed with the bug fixes and the work that I've been doing on it. So this is a revised ConsoleX2 bus with the compressor updated to recent and modern specs for what I'm doing, and also the clipper. Because the clipper is now, what is it, clip only 3, I think, at this point. And all of those things are up and running. Here, we'll play that synthesized stuff again. So you get to exaggerate this compressor, but you're supposed to only speed it up as much as you need to. And then the fader will let you loudinate. Or pad, if you want. And then our frequencies are up here. You can add bass. Higher, lower pitch. And we can add highs. Or take them away. And that's basically the gist of this one. I don't think I need to demonstrate it any longer. I have to get back to my work. It's a wild week. I'm going to show you everything I'm talking about with regard to how many irons I have in the fire, and my hopes for them. X2Buss is basically what I have sitting around that isn't subject to immediately being revised with work that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. I'm working on trying to fool with like the derivatives of distortion functions. There's a guy from Signalsmith who is doing he's doing a clipper that involves or has come up with a audio library for what he's calling elliptic blep aliasing canceling. And it's the real deal. I'm not able to do that. I tried to imitate some of the ideas that he had going on and completely failed and came up with something else. But what I came up with that was also kind of interesting. So I got to do some experiments and see how that works regarding stuff like saturation, because I've got a new version of pointy guitar and so on coming out with a different saturation, namely longhand, the sine wave based one, as its saturation. And now I got to find out whether I can upgrade that because some of the experiments that I was doing were pretty amazing, but I have to test it, and I don't have time to test anything. But I also have to update meter. I'm going to be demonstrating some things in meter, namely for the forbidden music. I'm showing people Hotel California again, but in the new meter. Because the thing that the new meter can do is it can do tone color better than anything that I've had before, and it's also becoming able to dial in on literally what good production is or not just frequency ranges or whatever. Instead of the three measurement categories I previously had, they're basically turning into space, air, and foundations of the sound. And they're defined by the breadth of the cloud of information you generate with your mix. And so for the patrons, what I'm doing for patrons at the $10 and up thing is showing a track that isn't hidden, like the stuff that I show on Forbidden is always mostly muted so that I can use it. But this I get to play complete with tacos. And I'm going to pick Lagrange. And this week, and probably only this week because I'm not going to keep doing this, I decided to use ConsoleX2Buss to quote-unquote fix Lagrange. So the deal with Tres Hombres is it's an awesome, awesome album. And it sounds amazing. And it also sounds really, really dark. It doesn't have like any high frequencies and doesn't really sit with modern recordings or anything like that. And funnily enough, on the current version of Meter, one of the things that I found was that more recent ZZ Top recordings, like stuff off of Eliminator, performed incredibly well. And what I did was, and the example that I give for the $10 and up patrons, because that's the special thing that I do for them, I ended up remastering it in ConsoleX2Buss. I gave it a little bit of compression so that the quiet bits sat up a little bit more, and I balanced everything so that it balanced out in meter, which is not only about making frequency ranges louder or quieter, it's also like if I'm trying to accentuate an area like the loudness area, what's going to make that read higher is not only more of the dots in the peak area, but also how distributed they are, how expanded the little cloud is that it produces. And I did my level best with this week's plugin, ConsoleX2, and got it to basically an A rating by sort of revoicing it in that way. And I'm not likely to do that again, but I wanted to show off ConsoleX2 because I have to get off and resume working on meter, because what you're seeing in that stuff is essentially an interim in meter. It needs to be able to handle not only classic records, but also very modern loudinated CDs and all that kind of stuff. And it should be able to handle tone color. No matter what you throw at it, it should give sensible results. And that requires a bunch of work, debugging and decoding it and figuring out how to do what it is that I'm trying to make it do. And nobody can really help me do that because I'm inventing it as I go along. It's going pretty well, but it's a huge amount of work. And you're seeing a snapshot of meter. The actual version that I'm working on will come out, and I'll make sure people know about it. Maybe it'll be out even by next week if the progress I'm making is good enough. And then I can do a video on that again and explain how to use it. And I'll do my level best with that. Seems like me talking people through it on screen is better than just putting it out there. I have to show people how to use it. Meanwhile, I'm also working on all manner of other stuff. Remember this? I am trying to make stomp boxes, and it's not all about just what circuit pieces I put into these. I've made some progress on that as well. Looks like I'm going to have 3 different variations on it. They all sit on a little circuit board, kind of like this. So I have to come up with a way of making it sit on a circuit board in a way that I can solder it together. And then you start with a little box like this. I've got a bunch of these boxes that I've drilled the relevant holes in. They're basically kind of like build this into your guitar chain and just always put it in front of the amp, and it reinvents the sound of the guitar pretty substantially. And this is basically a little Hammond cast aluminum box that I've drilled holes into. And then the next thing that I got to do with them is a little clear coat and a little brushed aluminum treatment. That's what you see here. Is I made it a little shinier so that it'll look pretty rather than looking like a default aluminum box, at which point I need to start painting on it. And I'm hand painting these. This is an undercoat for the colors that I'm going to end up putting on it. And you see some of the overpaint because I have one of these actually finished, except for I don't have the circuit board in there yet because I'm still working out how to arrange the parts to go on that board to fit into this box in order to make it up and running and working. I've done all the sort of little bits of it, and I have to put the whole thing together, at which point you will be able to buy these. They're doing my little thing of desert box pricing, meaning that it starts at $100. And then each successive one is going to be 6.18, etc., golden ratio, more than the previous. So they will stay affordable for some time. And then if it's a big hit, I actually get to make some money off of them. But I'll tell you one thing. When I sell the first one, which is probably going to be this one, unless I make multiple other ones and people... This is sort of the high gain one, and there's one that's going to be sort of more clear and sort of cool Fendery sounding, and I'm probably going to track bass through that. And then there's a third design I'm working on, which is completely lacking the complementary transistor that these use for getting a little more gain. And that is incredibly soft and squishy when you leave that transistor off and have only the FET. And this one's called Fire Diamond. And then there'll be a Earth Diamond for the slightly more Fendery sounding one, and then Water Diamond for the squishy, slippery one, which will probably work pretty well for if you were trying to do Allen Holdsworth tones or something. There's going to be uses for it. I feel like I'm going to be able to find uses for it. And once I have those, I need to start recording music into them and all of that kind of stuff. So there's a lot. As you can see, I'm kind of trying to get stuff moving. I'm looking forward to getting this meter stuff up and running better. I have more testing to do on it because in order to get that to work properly, I have to be able to put Dark Side of the Moon into it and get sensible results, and put Hotel California, which is the example for Forbidden Music this week, and get sensible results. And then I have to be able to put Burial in, or within the last 10 years, King Gizzard, which is incredibly loudinated half the time, and still get sensible results out of it. So it's been a lot of work, but I'm not going to give up. Also, when I sell my first Stomp box, and I'll tell you when I have these to sell, I'll probably make a dedicated video just for that. I sell one of these, I get to eat. Specifically, I'm going to use the money to put aside as $5 bills, which I spend on a kind of takeout pizza that I adore and that I haven't been able to get for a while because money's really tight and I'm disciplining myself to get this stuff done. So when I sell one of these, I get to eat something that I actually like and that is nice. If I sell two, I'll buy clothes because I've lost so much weight that now I don't fit into my pants and I need to rebuy them in the size that I now am. But, and then if I sell three, I don't know what I'm going to do. I still have to pay off that credit card debt. I'm working on that as hard as I can. The reason that I've got this stuff going on is because the extent to which I'm trying to solve that problem leaves no room for anything else. and I want the occasional treat. I want to be able to get like a pizza or something. And so the answer is apparently work harder. And I'll do my level best with it. For now, I have to get back to the testing of meter. I'm really looking forward to be able to bring that out because it's becoming more and more useful the farther I take it. And I have to do the video editing on this video and the 2 record videos, which what you see on the screen for those might or might not relate to what meter ends up being because it is a moving target. And I had to stop working on meter in order to make those videos so that I would have something to show people. And then going to immediately go back to testing it and seeing whether I need to change it even more. But it is what it is. And I'll talk to you later. All of this is supported by my Patreon because I ain't finished these boxes yet. So the Patreon is everything and all there is. YouTube views don't pay you anything. They really don't. So that doesn't really, I mean, I enjoy people being able to see the videos, but that doesn't really pay me. I will talk to you folks later. Bye-bye.